Tonight we're cutting out all the earth in a circular formation inside of our trench here. So as we come through our trail, we walk into this area, and then all of the earth that we get out of here, we're going to put up and over into the front of the trench and build that up. We continue to expand our Hugelkultur garden around our mound here, and one thing I would have done differently now, I'm not going to stress about it for this little section, but I would recommend doing this, that you use hardwoods like birch and that you use logs, but not these small sticks. I've got a bunch of them here that I just happen to throw into the front of this, and I find these get hard to bury. And when the little ends stick out, you run into it with your rake when you start to smooth things over. So this would have been easier to fill in landscape had I just used larger pieces or larger diameter wood than these small sticks here. So something to keep in mind if you're building one of these gardens. The other thing is I did put a little bit of green in, which in hindsight I shouldn't have at all, I don't think. If anything, they're going to make acid in the soil, but I've got a couple here down at this end, not a big deal. And mostly though, it's all old hardwood that I took down, stuff that was too rotten to burn as firewood. And aside from that though, at the end I was just grabbing sticks and stuff around the area off the ground and throwing them on, and that was probably a mistake. I'll go with bigger pieces of wood next time. These sods, for lack of a better term, from the top layer here, these are glued together better with the root system of things growing. And so I've been using these pieces here at the front of my mound to hold dirt back. And once I've removed my sod from a little area, this dirt here, I'll try to put that over the top layer of the embankment in the front there. So I figure that's probably the lightest and most like topsoil that's just under this layer here. And so I'm trying to put that where my seeds are going to be lying to help them germinate so that they're not in really heavy clay. Yeah, I've got my sod in place running along here. And then that denotes the bottom of my bank, at least on this round of digging. Eventually, I'll probably build this up more and more. Also, it's going to settle. I know, because this stuff, as it breaks down, everything's going to eventually cave in. And I'm going to be adding more dirt to this over the next few years. I hope as this breaks down, the wood here is going to amend the clay soil and make it lighter and a better garden soil. As that process happens and the wood deteriorates, the entire embankment is going to settle, and I'm going to have to continue to add more dirt on top of it and therefore seed over top of it again each time that I do this. And so it's going to be a few years until this is, perfect and well landscaped. This here all then has to be filled in with dirt, and where I have a space like this that's still pretty open, I'll probably go round up a little bit of rotten wood to throw in there, because the more wood I can stuff in here, the less dirt it's going to take to fill it. And I'm not sure how much soil I have all inside my my Hugelkultur mound here. This is what I would recommend people use for this type of a project. This is rotten birch, and you can see once this stuff breaks down, it goes really soft. And I'm hoping as that gets mixed into the clay that's going in here, it's going to make for a really nice garden soil. If these birch trees are fairly solid, I often add them to my fencing along the perimeter of my land, and that's as a backstop for livestock in the future, and windbreak and also animal habitat. The second use I have for this, once it's gone pretty rotten like this here, I'll sometimes add it to low areas in the forest, because naturally you get a lot of depressions in a forested area, and I want to try to get the grade as level as possible over time. And this stuff feeds nutrients into that ground for all the surrounding trees and brings the grade up to level it off a little bit. And as it breaks down, because it gets so soft, it just turns into like a soil. And this here now is my third use for this type of wood, is in hugelkultur, and trying to amend my clay soil that I have all over this land and turn it into better gardening soil. There, I think that builds it up well enough. Now we can go back to taking the soil from the inside of the mound and throwing it up and over this, and then we'll grade it all out. Hopefully we'll have time to seed it and water it tonight. There again is why small stuff was a mistake to put on my mound here. I'm reseeding this tonight because the first batch of seeds didn't do all that well. And this time around, after I seed, I want to use straw over top of it. And I think the straw is going to help when it rains heavy, that the rain doesn't wash out the soil. I've got clover here, which fixes nitrogen. It should be even better for garden soil in the future. I'm going to mix with that my barley and oats that I have. This clover is quite expensive to buy, so I don't intend to use it in any place other than where I do intend to garden at some point. All of this is experimental. I really don't know what I'm going to get for results, but we're trying different things here, and hoping we'll find some things that succeed over time. We're probably going to wrap up our project there for a few weeks and wait until this actually grows and holds some stuff together, because we've done our entire length of our mound over here. There's really nowhere else to put dirt except more on top of this. We've got a good 30 feet, I'd say, of hugelkultur gardening space. Starting with the tree over here. This bank was already there, but we built it up some, that little mound. And then all the way across there we built up, and around those couple trees and over to there where we ended tonight. It's nearly dark out tonight, but before I'm through, I'm just cutting my trench through here to meet the trail that comes in to the area that we dug out tonight. And that way, if it rains, this clayish soil isn't going to pool water here and me come back and, be up over my boots in water. So this way, water comes in, it's going to naturally drain down through the trail and right out through the entire trench system. That was the whole plan in doing this above ground and into a mound, as opposed to having to dig down into the earth like a real trench. Flies, they're in my eyeballs. There you can see what we've got hollowed out. If I wanted to retain water for the outer ring of this, the garden, I could always dig a little bit of a pool in there and let that clay harden, and I bet it would accumulate water in order to irrigate all the outer ring. Going down through the trench. Hey Loco, how's my boy? Cut through here. The water drains out through there. There's a walk around from where we were working earlier tonight over there. Mound comes over this way. Here's our entrance. There you can see barley growing. Not a lot of it, but that was from our first seeding. And we didn't use straw on that occasion. We just threw a little bit more clay over top of the seed. And some of it took, but not very well. So at some point I may build this up another few inches and put another round of seed in it, and then put the straw over it, because I think that's going to help preventing runoff a little bit better. Our path cuts this way, rounds the corner, and goes into what'll be our little dugout area. So I'm looking forward to showing this to the little guy. So I think as a 9-year-old, these walls would look a lot taller than they do to an adult, and this is going to look like a pretty cool spot for a kid.